Hey everybody, just thought I'd kind of bang out a quick video here, maybe a July 2017 update, and happy summer to everybody, or winter as the case may be for those of you in the southern hemisphere. Oh, by the way, I'm using a headset. It's kind of easier for me to keep my voice down without being overheard by either, neighbors on the other side of the wall, or up above me. But so I hope you can hear me okay. There might be a slight hum in the background. I don't know, because of the USB connection or whatever. I don't know. But so I just want to touch upon a few subjects here, and as you can see from the title of this video, okay, and these things again all are related to either Zyprexa, neuroleptics, and prescribers. Okay, that's what it really comes down to. So I wanted to say a few things about the passing and tragedy of Carrie Fisher. Okay, and because it was just a couple weeks back when the autopsy report was released. Okay, now granted, there were a bunch of illegal substances in her system, right? And I mean, I'm not passing judgment on her. She had her problems just like the rest of us. And it was such a tragic loss. It was a deep disturbance in the force. I remember that night, right before Christmas or whenever it was. And so no, so. Apart from the illegal substances, of course, which cracks me up because that was the heavy attention that the media paid, paid to or focused upon. Was all these illegal substances, but she also had psych meds in her system, and that seemed to take the back seat, okay, to this whole thing, and now of course I'm not in a position to make a clinical call on this, but but of course on that flight where she had the initial attack, okay, she was having a sleep apnea episode, okay, and now I have no idea how long she's had trouble with sleep apnea and such. But I mean, it did report her having a combination of Abilify, Prozac, or some SSRI, as well as Lamictal. Okay. Now, about again, not making a clinical call on this, but it's like, well, when this autopsy coroner's report was released a couple of weeks ago, and they talked about sleep apnea. I was like, holy crap, right? Because of course, as you may know, okay, this is a problem I developed while on Zyprexa, okay, and of course, kind of going out on a limb here, a theory, but of course, see, I cannot help but wonder. Again, I have no idea how long she'd been on Abilify, and actually I do recall reading she had maybe 2013, I think it was. She was on Seroquel then, okay, and but again, I mean, for me, for my situation with the sleep apnea and from the Zyprexa. Of course, it's been almost 2 years, coming up on in September, since I've been off of that. And I mean, the last time I had a sleep apnea episode myself was back like in January, so almost 6 months ago. I mean, granted, it was actually a rather bad one, okay. But as I have said, I'd like to use the phrase the frequency of these episodes have greatly diminished, okay, over these past 5 years, okay. I mean, why I had a bad one that night in back in January. And I mean, it was bad in the sense that, I mean, I knew that if I did not start breathing within a few seconds, I would have probably died. Okay, and partly the reason being because if I had not resumed breathing, while I was awake, and had not called, like, for help, or 911 or whatever, or then I would not have made it. Okay, but again, see, this is, I've been dealing with this for years, hoping, fingers and toes crossed. Okay, those things are behind me now. Okay, but but again, just to clarify again, from going, from having those episodes, every week, to now, almost, 6 months. Okay. As I have said, that's more than a clinical coincidence. Okay. So, and likewise, again, as far as Carrie Fisher goes, I mean, I'm just left wondering, if the sleep apnea was ever, created and or enhanced by any of the neuroleptics that she had taken. Okay, I mean, it would be nice to know that answer, but of course, don't forget, she had a lot of other stuff in her system as well. But of course, I really would have screamed had she, had she been on Zyprexa at the time of her death. That would have been, again, a holy crap moment, like, as I like to say. So, but it was such a, such a sad, tragic loss, as you know. But and on a related note, kind of like a segue as far as the sleep apnea and Ms. Malpractice goes, I'm going to say a couple things about that, because I think that was part 2 of the Never Trust a Smiling Cat series, when I had mentioned, that was back, like, I think that was right in the beginning of Zyprexa withdrawal, I think, back, in 2012, and when she came up with that comment. And if I have the opportunity, I'll try to put this on the screen. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it or not, but just to show I'm not a delusional asshole, right, and making this up. And how she had, again, just to show you how she had her own agenda, and I never got through to her. Okay, again, that was back in, like, early 2012, when she dismissed these sleep apnea attacks as being nocturnal anxiety, episodes, which I did not buy or believe for a second. So I mean that, combined with what happened with Carrie Fisher, I'm just shaking my head in just utter disgust. So, but again, like I said, I can't prove, that any neuroleptics caused or played a role with Carrie's death. I'd like to prove it, but I can't. Okay, but So, and again, as far as my alleged nocturnal anxiety attacks, according to Psycho Cunt, so again, yes, I mean, I had a bad one back almost 6 months ago, but I'd like her to answer the question. Well, and I kind of touched upon this back in the animated clinical cover-up video, that the last one I put out, about why over these past 5 years have they reduced, and have just taken a major back seat, and it's just really not much of an issue now. And again, this is why I say, I mean, the whole thing I've gone through, it was a friggin' clinical cover-up between her and her own agenda and her friggin' drugs and getting out of this without a slap on the wrist. Everything was a big friggin' clinical cover up. Okay. Um, and now and I'm going to say one other thing about the friggin' bitch. Now, and I have debated or not whether to mention this because I am curious in getting a little feedback here and opinion. And the reason I'm putting this out to anybody watching this, as opposed to speaking with my own, clinical crew that I'm dealing with or working with now. No, because see, I know they will not see things from my perspective. Okay, and what I'm meaning here is that, and some of my regular contacts know I'm very upset. I'm still very upset with this whole situation and with her. Okay, because as I like to say, Leos, are notorious for holding on to grudges for the rest of time. Okay, so now I feel okay. Of course, I tried to make every attempt to legally go after her. Okay, and with each attempt, I just had the door slammed in my face. And that's how the system works. Okay, in this so-called field of medicine. Okay, now, I really, I like to sarcastically say I think it would be clinically therapeutic and beneficial to confront the fucking bitch face to face and tell her what I truly feel. Okay? Now, of course, the problem with that is the potential exists that, if I did that, who knows what the legal repercussions could be. I could get myself into legal trouble. Okay? I don't know. I mean, she could get some kind of, trespassing charge filed against me. She could, maybe get a restraining order against me. I don't know. God only knows, But personally, like I said, I feel I need to really confront her and like really just shout at the top of my lungs at her. Okay, that's and I'd like to say that is not a want, that is a need. Okay, and again, because this is why I call her the psychopharmacological rapist. And as I like to say, don't forget, the word therapist is a derivative of two words: the rapist. Okay, and just to clarify something, okay, I was never forced to take Zyprexa. Okay, because I know there are some people I know of, and who even have commented, who know, who I know that they have been forced against their will, either by clinicians, government, whatever, forced to take this. Okay, that's horrible. So I don't know. So I'm just throwing this out in the event anybody has any comments. I realize that again, if I do someday choose to confront her, since I've been venturing back out into the world past couple of years or so, I just I like I said, I just feel I really need to do this because I just I like I said, I really need her to know how ticked off I am, and like I said, it's just unbelievable. That was 5 years ago. back in 2012 when I gave her the third degree, and for her to think, and because this is how she does business all through those years, to think that she can just just very quietly walk out the door that day back in April of 2012 and say, "Oh well, I'm sorry." Oh, case closed. And again, on the clinical cover-up investigation animated video that I did, that's why toward the end of it, 3/4 of the way, whatever, you might have seen that, repetitive over and over. I'm sorry. Because that was such a fucking slap in the face. Not just the investigation, but for her to think, oh, well, I can just say I'm sorry and that's it. And likewise, when just a couple of things I wanted to mention. Again, back in 2014, in her answer and response to the complaint of what I had filed against her, because she said, one thing I mentioned previously, she's like, oh, well, this came as such a blow to me. Oh, such a blow, right? And then she goes on to say, well, I hope this matter can be resolved as soon as possible. In other words, so we can just brush it under the carpet and just happily live ever after, right? What a fucking cunt! I'll tell you. So like I said, I feel free to comment on my idea of paying her a little impromptu, unexpected, unannounced visit, and just to tell her to go fuck off. So anyway, just want to check how we're doing for time here. Okay, so no, otherwise that's about it. And sleep is still not good. Well, last night I did manage to sleep maybe 6.5, but you see, that might happen once, maybe twice a week, and that's the most I'll get. Okay, but a lot of times this is the result of maybe just being so wiped out or drained, mentally drained, that sooner or later it's going to catch up. So I don't know, but there's one other thing I was going to say here. I didn't make any notes here, but I was going to say something else about the. Sorry about this. I don't know, something about the sleep thing, but recently. No, I do appreciate the comments as usual. Some people have again suggested, about trying to get some kind of physical activity, and I understand that. I do. And I hate to use the pathetic excuse. After 5 years of rotten sleep, it's just so damn difficult to get the body in motion. But I am making an attempt. Okay, just so some of you know, to get some some kind of physical activity. I recently got a little mini trampoline. The surface is it's about just over 3 feet. But again, for those of you, I'm sure some of you know. For just being in a very sedentary way. Okay, it's not good for the body and the mind. Okay, and just by jumping around, kind of reactivates the muscles in the legs. Okay, so and maybe hopefully that will help with my overall state of mind, perhaps. I don't know, but all right. So I guess that's about it. So I think I will make it a wrap. All right. And I'm actually getting a bit of an echo in here, so I hope you're not hearing that. But all right. So I don't know. I guess that's it. All right. But just thought I'd do a quick video, and I'm working, by the way, on a final note. I'm trying to get working on a part 2 updated version for my my little video journal of my little travels around, from the Life Beyond Zyprexa series. All right. Okay, so I like I said, that's gonna do it. All right. And feel free to send a message about the subject matters I talked about earlier. All right. Thank you as always. All right. Oh, wait a minute. I'm just thinking I might. Just thought of one other thing. I'm not sure if I should mention that or not. All right. No, I'll pass on that. I'm sorry about that. All right. But all right. Bye for now.